Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kristen and it is time to open the January 2024 Inkflight box. Colorverse! Cool! Tangerine Hoko Mask, Young Bridge, Kings Road, is it Young or Young? I'm not sure. Dokdo, and Kingdom Jongchuk Hasyong. Okay, I'm gonna have to, I will learn. Please ink responsibly. I like this. This one is going on my water bottle. Yes. I love the color too. Yes! Is this what I think it is? Oh, cool. Ink and the dip pen. Yay! I've been considering getting the Hoko dip pen by Sailor. I'm so excited about this one. Yes, definitely gonna use it. Hey, only 6 samples this month? What gives? Oh. The 7th ink in this month's ink flight. Okay, the 7th ink in this month's flight is contained within the Dipton Mini Ink and Dip Pen set. Sailor gets into the shimmer ink game with 3 new colors: Coral Humming, Ice Dance, and Mellow Forest. I'm guessing it's Coral Humming based on the color of the box. Each Inkflight box contains one of these 3 colors. The 10 milliliter dye-based ink has a shimmer, that changes color based on the angle you view it. This ink is not recommended for use with fountain pens and is meant to be used with the included dip pen. Okay. The Hoko dip pen has a clear concave barrel with sparkles suspended throughout. I didn't know that. The steel dip nib has a fude tip, which can be used to write calligraphy. The pen tip can be stored by pulling it from the barrel, reversing it, and inserting it tip first into the barrel. The Please Ink Responsibly stickers were made by the other Tom, inside joke between us Toms, at Sugar Turtle Studio. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like it. Okay. Now, this is some fancy packaging they got going on, but look at the shimmer in here. This is nice. Coral Humming, a shimmer ink. Okay. Anything else in here? Okay, great. That's empty. Oh, it's got like a little flat side so it won't roll away. Yeah, that's cool. Nice. I am so glad that I have a feed. Dude, I'm about to buy one of these Hoko, a regular Hoko dip pen with a medium nib or something so fast and just swap out that feed. But I think that's so cute. Little sparkle bits. It's cute. Thank you, Ink Journal. Yay. I love having fun with like new dip pens. All right, so as always, I'm swatching it on Cosmo Airlight, Midori, Yamamoto Bank Takasago Premium Paper, Iroful Paper, Tomoe River Tea or Tomoegawa Paper, my ink swatch Tomoe River Paper notebook as well. I think those are all the papers that I'm going to be using today. All right, so let's get started with this beautiful pearlescent ink color. I feel like this needs to be the color of a car. Oh. What? Okay. Okay, yeah, this one's going to be an issue with my glass dip nib. The ink does not want to cling to glass. Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, that's very strange. It's strange because the ink, it does grab a hold of the nib, but for some reason it grabs a hold of the grooves. It doesn't flow very easily down to the tip of the nib. When I dipped this nib into the ink, there was actually a drop, a blob of ink hanging on to the middle of this nib and not down at the tip. And it would not travel down to the tip either. So I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. That little blob of ink is not traveling down to the tip of the nib. It washes out flawlessly. No scrubbing necessary. Let's see how it works with the Kakimori brass nib. Ooh wee. Yeah, it's one of those stubborn inks. This reminds me of the yellow ink from last month. Platinum Mix Free Sunshine Yellow. That's how this is behaving. Ooh. Yep, it's just falling off the nib. I don't know how to make this ink work for me. Coral Humming. Okay, that part was not bad. Okay, much better on this paper with the dip nib. Okay, with these last two on Cosmo Airlight and Midori paper, I want to try the Fude nib with its ink. Sailor. Nice. Dip 10. And the ink is Coral Humming. Wow. It is so fine. Actually quite nice. Oh wow. So this is how it's supposed to look. It was like this ink was made for this pen. Okay, I understand now. I see you, sailor. Here we go. And here we go. Yeah, that looks really good. I'm very pleased with how this ink looks coming from the Hoko nib. I'm glad that I can just sit this down flat on the table without needing anything like this. It feels really rough on Midori paper. So it might be the fact that this is a shimmer ink and that there is more texture on Midori paper. It just felt like really rough and dry, but I love the shimmer. I love how it thins out the actual color of the ink. So it just looks beautiful. I guess it's clean. Is it clean? It's clean. All right. It's like this cool and warm color all at once. I don't know what to think about it, but I really like how it looks from the Hoko dip pen. Colorverse number 52, Tangerine. Wow. Okay. That's another one. Colorverse number 52, Tangerine. Inspired by the vibrant orange color of the famous Jeju tangerine. It's like a pretty dry ink that also just... Do I need to scrub this dry? I mean, like, scrub it clean or something? Is there some coating on my nib? Because it looks like the ink just does not want to flow. Let's try it again on Tomorrow River paper. Okay. It looks like it's flowing better. Yeah, so this is so much better. Maybe there's just something coating this nib. This had the Hoko, so I'm gonna try a different nib on here now. Oh! Why? I like the shimmer on this Coral Humming. Let's try Hoko. This is the Colorverse. I like that there's a feed on here, a reservoir. And I really like that I could just sit it down like that and not have to worry about it rolling away on me or getting ink on the desk. This Coral Humming reminds me of Robert Oster Rose Gold Antiqua. The color of the ink, not the shimmer particles, but the color of the ink under the shimmer reminds me of Robert Oster Rose Gold Antiqua. It feels a bit dry. This is Colorverse number 51. Doesn't have any shimmer particles, does it? Great. This is a beautiful brown. Colorverse number 51 Home Mask. Inspired by the ceremonial masks originating from the 12th century Goryeo period, this ink is a tan brown with slight expressions of gray and orange. First ink sample that was not a struggle. Yay. It's going to be a little bit different this time. So I'll do swatch over here. And the brand name. Number 51. And then come over with the Hoko. This is really light. Wow. Yeah, there's a big difference in how the ink appears, with a lot of it going down from the Kakimori dip nib versus the Hoko dip nib down here. I'm guessing this is what a wet pen would put down on paper, especially like broad nibs. And down here, if you have extra fine or other dry writing fountain pens, this ink would probably look more like the writing on the last two lines. I feel like I'm more excited about this Hoko dip pen than I am about the inks. But the inks are lovely. They're not, so far they haven't wowed me, even though this brown is a really lovely brown. Oh, see, I'm about to have an issue with my rolling Kakimori dip nib, but this one will never leave me. It will never leave me. See, look at that. Number 51. That was a bit dry writing. It feels so nice and so smooth on Tomoe River paper. I love that. I really enjoy this one on Tomoe River paper. Next is Young Bridge. I like it coating the nib. Colorverse number 46, Young Bridge. This multi-chromatic shading ink expresses the light of the buildings reflected in the Jumgang River from Korea's longest pedestrian bridge. This feels really dry. It looks and feels a lot better on Tomoe River paper than it does on Cosmo Air Light paper. They seem to be drier inks. Kings Road. Ooh, I like it. It's like a cool toned olive green. It's got a little bit of olive in there. It's got a little bit of blue in there, a little bit of gray. I like it. But of course, it is very light. Colorverse number 49, Kings Road. A bright olive tone color, this ink captures the landscape seen from the Semdo leading to Jungjongjian Hall in the capital city center. Look at that! Young Bridge. Oh, there's a bit of purple in there. I like it. I like that one. This is very light. Oh my goodness. It is writing, but it is pale. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if you can see that. It's so pale. That would definitely need to go into a larger nib. This is such a beautiful green. But it is so pale. I don't know if I can do anything with this green. I really like the shade of green, but I need a more legible version of this green. Next to last, teal blue. I like it already. I hope it likes me. Colorverse number 44, Tokudo. A bright, clear turquoise color. This ink is inspired by the freshness of the East Sea, where Tokudo islets are located. This reminds me of Private Reserve, what is it, Blue Suede? So I'm glad it's not all pastels this month. Oh, that's so pretty. Look at that. I want to put this in a nib anyway because it just looks so good. Those two look so fun. Oh, I like it. Yep. Number 44. I am really loving using both of these nibs during my swatching sessions. Oh, well, I've got one thing against it. Don't flick the Hoko dip nib. That will happen. Oh. It's interesting. So I did this at a slightly higher angle, and that was a bit lower. Cool. I like it. Look at how bright this is. Oh, I love it. Okay, now this might be a bit too coated. I can no longer see inside the vial, so I wonder if this one has a sheen or if it's just a super duper thick ink. When the ink is so thick that I'm really going in blind trying to get ink on this nib, that's when it has me worried. Colorverse number 43, Juk Haseong. This cold, dark blue-black ink expresses the humiliation faced by the surrender of the 16th king, Injo, of the Chosun dynasty. This looks really nice. It looks almost black in the thicker areas. It might dry down a bit lighter because I'm starting to see like this desaturated navy blue color, but I would definitely not put this in a dryer writing fountain pen. For example, this ink would not go in my Platinum 3776 Century. I feel like that would be hard starting all over the place. Number 43. Yeah, you get to see a little bit of the color with the Hoko dip nib. I like that I can do that. I really like that I can do that. Okay, hit that. Oh, I love that navy. I love that navy color. See, I like all three of these down here. Honestly, I like all four of these down here. This is a nice brown. I really love the shimmer on this ink. Since this last one is still drying, I'll put them all on here so that we can see them together. Look at this. Look at this. look at that. It looks like a piece of kiwi fruit that I have to partake of it. I gotta try this out. Even though it's telling me, don't you dare enter here because of how light and soft this color looks. It looks so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I might need to figure out like how to use this ink in a way that works for me. So if I need to grab a 1.5 stub nib, or if I need to grab a Pilot Parallel, or even see if this works in that Pilot 78G with the double broad nib that really writes like a stub or an italic grind, I need to figure that out because this is lovely. This is beautiful. I really like this one. I like this color. I don't know if I can write in this color, but I really like this color. This is gorgeous, but I think I have quite a few inks in this color family. I like how this ink looks after it dries. It looks like a muddy pink while it's still wet, but I think the shimmer kind of warms it up and gives it a little bit more of a, I don't know, a lively, fun color. It looks a bit lighter and less like sickness. And I can see the shimmer as well. Oh, they said it's supposed to be like different. Okay, so I guess the shimmer looks a bit white, or not white, but silver here. And this golden color right there. Yeah. So I guess it could change from like silver to like this greenish gold. Look at that. Sailor's got some unofficial chameleon inks. I like the shade of this tangerine. I don't think that I would use this in a pen though. I think I've done enough with like these yellow oranges. I've tested them plenty last year. This is not bad. I actually prefer this on some of my other papers. It doesn't look too bad. It looks a bit underwhelming on the coloring paper, but it looks really nice. It looks quite nice on some of my other papers. I'll show you that soon. This has a hint of lavender, which you've seen in plenty of other inks as well, but it looks like it. It's really nice ink. I'm so drawn to these bottom three colors. This just because it's such a deep, dark navy blue. I wonder how close this looks to Bleu de Profondeur. And I really want to see this one next to Private Reserve Blue Suede. I just like that one. It puts me in the mind of the Venta inks and the Pannonia inks that are super duper light, super duper pale. But I like the fact that this is still green and it's not teal or gray. Let's take a look at some papers. These inks are quite nice. But of course, I like these four inks down here. I'm pretty underwhelmed by these top three, although I really do love Coral Humming on the Midori paper and what's this one? The Yamamoto Bank paper. Yeah, I like how warm it looks on those two papers. This tangerine color, I like that it looks a bit soft on some of these, but I prefer the saturation and the warmth that it has on Midori paper and the Bank paper. Colorverse number 51 just looks odd in different ways. It looks odd in different ways on each one of these papers. I need to check and see if it actually bled through. Okay, so it didn't really bleed through as much as some of these other inks. It looks like I destroyed the fibers of the paper with friction, but I did not. I applied this ink to these papers the same way that I applied these other inks to the paper, but for some reason, this ink just does weird things. That's a strange ink. I'm a little thrown by this because it looks like this toffee caramel color on the Bank paper, but it still has this grayish tint to it that makes it just looks off. I'd rather it be like a cool tone brown than to be a warm brown with some weird gray added to it. It looks conflicted. On Colorverse number 46, I really love what it's doing on the Midori paper, this cream Midori paper. It is so lovely, so saturated right there. It was either number 51 or 46, but this is when I started using the brass dip nib for the ink brand and the Hoko dip nib for the ink name and the lines and the little scribbles at the very bottom of each ink sample. I really do like how I can see what this ink looks like in heavier applications and in lighter applications. I love how that looks because it gives me a better idea of which pen I would love to use for an ink like this one. Would I love this ink in a drier writing pen? Would I love this ink in a wetter writing pen? Now this just looks so good. It looks so good on all of these. It's doing a little something weird over here on Midori paper. Like there's a halo of teal around the edges where this pools. But King's Road just looks so beautiful. I love how it looks on aerosol paper. I love how it looks on whatever this one is, Cosmo Air Light. Yep, Cosmo Air Light paper. It even looks really good on Tomoe River paper. I really prefer it. Oh, I prefer it everywhere except maybe that one, because the teal just, it looks out of place. But I really like how it looks across those 5 papers. Now, this blue suede look-alike, feel-alike, maybe it's a feel-alike ink. I don't know how close this ink is in color to Private Reserve blue suede, but it makes me feel like I'm writing with, oh man, I did that. I did. I should have just blotted it dry. We're fine. I play with inks. But yeah, I like it. I really do like it. But would I purchase it? I don't know. Would I be more willing to purchase this one, or would I be more willing to purchase another ink that looks very similar to this one? I guess I'll have to do swatch comparisons to really see where my preference lies with this ink color. It looks a bit greener on Midori paper and bank paper. Of course, bank paper tends to pull out like greens in some inks. So I like these. It looks slightly different on these 2 papers, but pretty consistent overall. For Colorverse number 43, it looks almost black on bank paper and Midori paper. Let me see if I can pull this over so you can see the writing. Yeah, it still looks just about black on these papers. And you can see the color peeking out a little bit more with the Hoko dip nib. Overall, it just looks too dark to tell what the color is on those 2 papers. But I really love the shade of this ink on the Cosmo Air Light paper, aerosol paper, and Tomoe River paper. I am really fond of this deep navy color, and I'm even more drawn to it when it's in, I guess, a drier nib. But I wonder if I can do this in maybe a stub nib that still writes a bit dry, because I'd love to see that shading, that dimension in this ink. Now let's take a look at some swatch comparisons. And this is really nice. But for it to have such restrictions on it, I don't know how often I would actually use this ink if I'm not able to use it in a pen. This is the Coral Humming, Sailor Dipped in Coral Humming, next to Diamine Bucks Fizz. Bucks Fizz is definitely more orange by comparison. Look at that, Ferris Wheel Press, Wonderland and Coral. They're very similar. The shimmer on Wonderland and Coral is a bit pink, and it is very difficult to see. Here's Diamine Celebration next to Coral Humming. I think that's all that I can compare it to. Oh wait, hold on. This has a blue shimmer. Definitely more legible than definitely peachy. Okay, let's take a look at Tangerine. Here is Tangerine next to Golden Barrel by Pelican Edelstein. Robert Oster, Brandy. Waringo, Kyunghee. Troublemaker, Mango. Octopus Fluids, Orange. It looks a bit deeper. It actually seems more legible than Tangerine. Oof. Platinum Mix Free, Sunny Yellow. It's deeper in color, but they are equally frustrating. Crazy that Helianthus is lighter, but better behaved. Stipula Saffron. Newler's Southwest Sunset. Ferris Wheel Press Pumpkin Patch. Dominant Industry November Leaves, next to Colorverse number 51. Do I have anything near this color? Ferris Wheel Press Oyster Hour. I actually prefer the shade of Oyster Hour. I don't know if I have anything that's similar to this color. Robert Oster, Kansas City. It looks more golden. Diamine Cinnabon. Okay, Grafton Faber-Castell Cognac Brown. It's interesting that these look so similar in the viewfinder of the camera, but they look so different to me. Like this is yellow and this is more of like a reddish brown in person. When the 2 of these look so very similar to my eyes because of the gray in this ink, but they look so different in the viewfinder. This looks orange in the viewfinder. This looks like a golden color, which it is not. And then here, they look so similar, but this is more of a golden color and this is more of a reddish brown color. SBRE Brown. Yeah, so this is similar to Tom Sawyer, but Tom Sawyer is definitely more legible. Sailor Ink Studio 280. It's more saturated and it's got like this peachy brown chroma thing going on. Bamboo Shoots. Palette Suzuku Chikurin. Do I have anything else? Grafton Faber-Castell Olive Green. Ferris Wheel Press Peter Moss. Wow, Diamine Weeping Willow. I like them both. Troublemaker Inks Kelp Tea. Sailor Ink Studio Amamoyoi. Winter Pine is too blue. Zusmo is also too blue. It's too cool tone. This is pretty unique aside from like Tom Sawyer being, I guess, a deeper version of this color. It's still a little bit different. This is a little bit more olive, and this is a little bit more of a cool tone green color. Let's see how many I can pull up next to this one. Robert Oster Marathon Blue, Le Bon Poseidon Green, Dominant Industry Lake, Colorverse Alpha Virgo, oh, Octopus Fluids Caribbean, Ferris Wheel Press Edwards Gardens, Diamond Bliss, Jacobin Emerald of Chivor. There we go. Wearing Gold Wayfarer is more blue as well, very slightly more blue. Monteverde Iced Cookie is less saturated, and Private Reserve Blue Suede is bluer. I didn't realize that this is so similar, but it looks like Doctor is a little bit more blue. It has a little bit more blue in the undertone than Colorverse Alpha Virgo. Colorverse number 46 next to Diamine Early Dusk. Blue Martini next to Colorverse number 43. That's what I was wondering. How similar are these two inks? Urbain Bleu de Profondeur next to Colorverse number 43. I can't even believe that this is even darker than Bleu de Profondeur. I like both of them. I like my dark blues. Diamine Silent Night next to Colorverse number 43. Colorverse number 43 is slightly more saturated. If you can see in the corners, like it actually still looks like a decent blue. And this appears to be a bit more gray, less saturated. Robert Oster Gray Seas next to Colorverse number 46. Colorverse Cotton Blue next to number 46. These look so similar. Oh my goodness. Jacobin Bleu Nuit. Cielo Cruel. Monkey Head Nebula. Van Diemen's Blue Jay Crown. Troublemaker Inks Milky Ocean. Milky Ocean has just a tad bit more teal in those pooling areas. Periwinkle Blue is very similar. Wow. Pilot Blue. It's a bit more saturated, a more straightforward blue with like this reddish sheen. The purplish tint that you see in Pilot Blue has more to do with a red sheen than it does any chroma shading properties that it might have. And Waterman Serenity Blue also has like this reddish sheen. Palo de Rosazuku Ajisai. I think that's about it. All the others are a bit too purple, like Diamine Bashful Blueberry and Diamine Nightshade. All right. Look at that. Yeah, so I am fond of this ink color. This is everything from the January 2024 Inkflight box. I am really pleased with the samples that we received because look at those beautiful colors. Like they look so good. I want to figure out what to do with this. If you have any recommendations on what you would do with an ink so light that it probably wouldn't work in a regular fountain pen, what recommendations would you have? But yes, I am so impressed with a lot of the items that we receive through the Inkflight subscription boxes. Items like this. These are items that have really become some of my staple pieces whenever I am exploring new inks or filling up a pen or just trying something new. This already has become a staple. This Sailor Hoko dip pen is going to be a regular in many of my swatching videos from now on, just like this glass dip nib that I received from the Inkflight box. So I am so very pleased with this nib. I was not expecting very much, but I think the Fude nib is very, very fun to play with. You can go a little bit more upright if you want thinner lines, or you can have it a little bit closer to the paper if you want to have thicker lines. And so I love having that type of freedom with my dip nibs so that I can make swatches and marks in any sort of way that I like. Thank you, Ink Journal, for curating such wonderful subscription boxes each and every month. I'm really satisfied with especially the tools, and I have a lot of fun trying new things. This was a pretty good start to the new year. I was a bit underwhelmed, and some of these I'm probably not going to keep in my collection, but I still believe that this is a worthy subscription for me because I love doing these swatches, and I also love finding new tools that will enhance my swatching sessions. If there's anything else that you would like to share with me, any questions that you have about this, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.